Phil Hellmuth angle shooting allegations have rocked the online community after this clip from a high-profile hustler livestream.
Just have no idea what to do here.
And Hellmuth just folded the best hands.
I thought you folded. No. Let's have a deal. We're only charging you $5K. I think that's generous. Oh my God. Nice fold.
Ooh, you hate to see it. Not a good look for Phil, not a good look for poker. Besides this hand, Phil was up to all of his old classic tricks, refusing to straddle in the best game of all time.
I'm not fucking straddling.
Min buying in and keeping a short stack when YouTube influencers and Twitch influencers have hundreds of thousands of dollars in front of them.
There's one good thing for you, though, Botez. What? I don't have enough money, so...
Bro, can you buy him more so if I win it all in, I can give more money?
I wish I could buy him more.
Why can't you?
Close enough.
Berating recreational players when they play big pots and he loses. It was the classic Phil show.
I mean, what the fuck? She called $50,000 with an ace-9 offsuit, and I'm losing in this fucking game. What the fuck?
But this might be one step too far, and the online community has spoken out both in the poker world and outside of it. Today, we take a deep look into exactly what went down on this hustler live stream. Before we jump into today's video, and you know it's going to be a big one when I'm wearing a blazer, I want to briefly talk about CoinFlex's US launch. CoinFlex recently launched their exchange within the United States, and they have a pretty sweet offer for people looking to trade cryptocurrency. 0 fees. That's right, no fees when you trade cryptocurrency back and forth on the platform. Every other exchange, to my knowledge, does have fees. So if you like trading cryptocurrency, head over to coinflex.us now. Legal disclaimer, that was an ad, and cryptocurrency can go down in value because, well, it's cryptocurrency. Back to our story today. We're going to have to talk about Phil Hellmuth's behavior on this live cast stream. And oh boy, was this one a doozy. The community was excited for this hustler live stream because this event started to get promoted about a week ago. And when you saw the lineup, it was definitely one for the ages. Headlining the event was Mr. Beast, one of the most popular people in the entire world. He has 95 million subscribers on YouTube, one of the biggest people on the entire platform. And YouTube is a pretty big platform. With the world watching, the poker community knew we had to put our best foot forward, which is why we filled those 3 remaining seats with only the best and the brightest, including Dan Bilzerian's best friend, a scumbag that owes people money, and a man with the emotional fortitude of a 5-year-old. Quick note on the Dwan front, to this day, he's still yet to resolve the 2010 Durr challenge with Jungle Man Dan Cates. But then also this tweet from Heralbus yesterday showed that Durr still owes him $375,000. I'd say that's surprising, but I can't lie to the good people of the internet. But anyway, let's not get bogged down in exactly what debts to who Dwan has today, because then we might be here for a while. Let's focus in on the Phil Hellmuth story specifically. The stream started off with these players at these buy-in amounts, everyone in for $50,000, but I can assure you things escalated quickly. This 8-hour stream culminated in these results, with Alexandra Botez taking home the most winnings, $457,000, but Mr. Beast, Ludwig, and Ninja all with over 100K in earnings each. The 4 biggest winners, all influencers. The poker crew finished a combined down $1.2 million, with Tom booking the only win for $26,000, a meager profit at best in this game. Phil Hellmuth losing $100,000 to people that mainly play video games on Twitch for a living, and Alan Keating losing over $1 million. And frankly, it looks like no one else even really lost when you think about how much Alan lost compared to the field. We're going to get to the big hand that caused the commotion, but there are just so many other things I want to talk about with regards to Phil Hellmuth and his behavior and etiquette at the table, considering the game that he's involved in. As a precursor to the arguments I'm going to make, I want to note this might be, seriously, the best poker game that was publicly shown of all time. I can't think of one that was better. This is just an all-time great poker game. Look at these VPIPs people played. Look at those VPIPs. Normally, if you have one guy playing 60, it's a good game. 60 puts you middle-ish of the pack with all of these animals. When you end up with a seat of the all-time best game ever, there's one main thing to keep in mind, and it's pretty simple. Don't be a gigantic nit. Expanding on that, just be a good presence at the table. Throw some straddles on, play some bigger pots, participate in what the table is doing and talking about. Don't just try and maximize your hourly because you see a good spot in a good game. This is the best game. You're going to be winning an EV no matter what. Loosen up, let people play, and definitely don't start berating people. You know, no one would do that.
It's like impossible that I could ever be losing in this game. The man just bet a queen
you do
five.
this for a living?
I called 5,000 under the fucking gun. I got to have 9s or above, and he bet a queen 5 for value on the river. I just have never seen such a bad play. And then he said, you win, because he never can win with it. They're bluffing off their fucking money to me. And, oh my God, this is so weird.
This brings us to the first hand I want to break down. The action opens with Mr. Beast putting on a $25,000 straddle on the button. $25,000 straddle. People haven't looked at their cards yet. This is not 100, 200. Action folds to Phil Hellmuth with 2 big blinds, and he jams in with ace-8 offsuit, obviously the standard play. And now Alexandra gets a little bit of a tough spot with ace-9. Certainly, she's ahead of a 2 big blind jam range here from Phil Hellmuth with ace-9, but she does have some people behind, which make it a little awkward with her stack size. I think you're probably going to have to just call, which she does decide to do. Looks like the right play. You can maybe argue for a rejam, but you definitely can't fold, and she makes the right decision and puts the chips in the middle. Alan Keating looks down to the ace-3 suited. He puts it in for just a few blinds, and Mr. Beast decided at this point he's already got money in there. He's got 2 cards. That can't be that bad with the queen 5 offsuit. After a lot of trying to calculate things out, eventually we end up all in a 4-way pot. And when it becomes clear that Botez had called with the ace-9, Phil Hellmuth doesn't exactly take it well.
Only a complete.
I'm dead.
She called me with ace.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Only Botez would call with ace.
Queen 5.
I like your hand. I like your hand. I like your hand. I like your hand.
Queen, bro. Queen 5 is so fucking.
Clubs.
Show me a queen. We need money.
There are 0
Dwan.
aces and I had an 8.
Oh,
he's stalling.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Queen.
Oh, that's.
A 3.
Wow.
So she's winning.
Everybody pairs but Beast.
Everyone but me. Everyone but me.
That means,
Come on.
that means there's 6 left for you, King.
How in the hell can someone?
That's fine.
It's a queen.
I'm calling it right now. This is a
ace
queen.
nine
I'm calling it right now. This is a queen.
No queens.
I will literally tip you $20,000 if you put a queen there.
I got to give some props here to Mr. Beast for this amazing tip offer here on the river. All of a sudden, the dealer has to super hard sweat, hope this is a queen, because he gets tipped $20,000 if it is. Incredible. Let's see the river.
8. Queen. You better put a queen there in your best interest.
Magic's got $20,000 if you can put a queen on the river.
He's praying.
20 grand.
Even Magic can't do that. And Botez again. Are you kidding me?
What, like
ace 9 off?
600,000 now?
Top 100 female poker owners.
That's it.
Did you crack it just now?
Jimmy, you realize how many chips I have?
Phil Hellmuth, as always, gracious in defeat.
I have like 10K left.
Oh, it's real.
50,000.
Bro, where did my luck go? I've never been this bad.
Fucking kidding me.
Yeah, but
I mean, what the fuck? She called $50,000 with an ace-9 offsuit, and I'm losing in this fucking game. What the fuck?
I knew this was going to What is happening? What is that?
Well, at least.
bro, we're getting steamrolled.
At least I know she'll lose 500.
Hey guys, I like to joke around on this channel a lot, but this is just so fucking over the line from Phil Hellmuth. You're berating people that are playing in your game you've played for a living for incredibly high stakes, and you're just going to insult them when they make what you view as mistakes. By the way, putting in 2 blinds with ace-9 isn't even a mistake. Phil is actually even just wrong here. But regardless of that, to treat people like that is completely unacceptable. We can't just allow this behavior regardless of if we think it was angle shooting or not, and we'll get into that later. This is totally unaccepted from Phil Hellmuth, and we just need to take a moment to acknowledge that. Comments honestly disgusting. Can we also pause for a moment to talk about the fact that he's still promoting Bitcoin Latinum? What the hell is going on? This thing, in my opinion, looks like a clear scam. This is the graph of the Bitcoin Latinum price. Looks like you probably did pretty well if you sold for that, I don't know, 10 minutes. Phil, if you're watching, stop promoting Bitcoin Latinum. You need to talk about this. You need to stop promoting something that has gone down so much in value, that is very clearly a marketing ploy, in my opinion. You need to stop promoting this. People can get hurt and lose money. If you're going to promote something that's crypto related, you need to stick to legitimate, upstanding businesses. Anyway, back to Phil Hellmuth stuff. In this hand, a bunch of people limp in with air balls, and Phil Hellmuth jams $50,000 over 4 limps with ace king. I guess he hasn't learned his lesson about large jams that he tries to stack people with.
It's just such a monster raise. This is completely absurd. He has to get through him, and then he has to get through me. And then, no, this is just a fold.
Wow.
Regardless, Phil gets needled by Botez and then told a little bit about how to play poker. You just love to see it.
I don't know, Phil. I have another ace-9, and I'm feeling lucky.
Oh my god, do it. I'll give you. I won't fold.
I can't do it.
Check that out.
Can I look?
I fold. What is that?
49.9.
Painful, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna reward you for waiting till you get a great hand and then all ending pre-flop. Good man.
It's just absolutely incredible that someone like Beast, who does not play poker much and has a background as a YouTuber, can recognize that Phil's just playing tight and trying to stack people. Truly phenomenal. Next, we gotta talk about the stack sizes. Guys, look at this image. Look at these stack sizes, and look how short Phil Hellmuth is. The self-proclaimed greatest of all time, playing against people that have never looked at a pre-flop raise chart, and this is the amount of money he wants to be in for. Against these people, what are you doing? What a great message this sends to everyone watching this stream for the first time. Hey guys, the best players in the world, well, they can't afford much, and they're going to wait for good hands and then berate you. All right, so he's playing short and he's berating people, but at least he's getting into the table dynamic when it comes to straddling.
I'm not fucking straddling.
To be fair to Phil, he would have been the 5th straddle here, which is a pretty big straddle. It's okay to sit out in the 5th straddle. You don't need to do that to be part of the game, but you got to look at the environment and try and match the atmosphere. If people are constantly straddling it up to 1.6K or 3.2K, you should probably throw a couple in there and just be a good sport about it. There's an art to straddling. You don't have to be the guy that's always straddling every time, but you want to be watching your table and try and match the dynamics so that you don't look like you're the player that's trying to take advantage of things. I get sometimes the stakes get big, and I get that also you are leaving money on the table by doing so, but atmosphere is important, and it can make sure that in the future you get invited back to the right games. I say this as someone that never played in private games and never got invited to anything, so, you know, grain of salt. We got another play where Mr. Beast goes for a value bluff and completely wrecks Phil Hellmuth with pocket 9s, who makes a call, isn't good, and, you know, does some classic Phil Hellmuth stuff.
It's like impossible that I could ever be losing in this game. The man just bet a queen
you do
5.
this for a living?
I called 5,000 under the fucking gun. I got to have 9s or above, and he bet a queen 5 for value on the river. I just have never seen such a bad play. And then he said, you win, because he never can win with it.
What am I even watching right now, honestly? What am I even watching? You might be thinking, Doug, you're overreacting to this. This game actually isn't that crazy. Oh, yeah? Well, let's watch Alan right after he gets a $150,000 loan.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be like a $390,000 flip. Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Juju. Yeah. This is a 400K flip.
Yeah, it's a 400K flip.
You might be at home thinking, what would you do with $150,000? Don't think it was this.
Oh, if I win, by the way, you get 10 grand.
More massage? I'll bring it down, dude.
Okay, GG, GG.
Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Cash out.
Hey, interview her what she's going to spend 10 grand on.
There were plenty of other great Phil moments here, like one where he folds the best hand while getting berated from the table about not being a pussy. But we could go through Phil moments all night. It's time for us to get into the entree of the evening. Let's talk about this angle shooting incident. We don't need to focus on the pre-flop action too much, but I want to hone in here as Phil starts to tank so you guys can get some good context on exactly what went down. Let's take a look at the clip in a more full context.
Mr. Beast is going to take a shot at it with absolutely nothing.
There we go.
Phil calls.
I'm all in.
Slime moved all in.
Is there like a live commentators or like annotation on the screen? Yeah. I remember seeing a meme with Forsen. It says, Forsen lost 14 hands in a row, and it's just a picture of him with his glasses on. It's so funny. Yeah, that's right now. And then the camera gets close and they're talking about you while you're doing it.
Fuck. I just have no idea what to do here.
Show the table.
And Hellmuth just folded the best hands.
Yeah, it's just you.
Down a show?
And I have ace 9, yeah.
Oh my God, what'd you do? That? You fold.
Excellent.
I didn't.
Oh wait, I thought you folded. No. Did you not fold?
No, I didn't fold.
he
I'm
showed
thinking.
Did you see his hand?
He showed like ace 7 or something, or ace 6.
I thought you folded.
No, he said show your hand and then he flipped it over.
God.
You showed me the worst hand.
Phil, maybe I thought you folded.
with a deal.
Yeah, play for
Let's have a
He
deal.
shouldn't be punished for that.
I don't think you should be punished for folding your hand. All right, so what kind of deal?
I don't know.
I guess just take your money back. Or put in 5K.
Yeah, put in
or something.
5.
Put in 5,000 fair. What do you think's fair? 5?
Yeah,
5 or 10 or something.
That is a little unlucky.
I've just never seen someone show and then.
We've literally been doing it the whole game.
I know. I'm just not used to
I think it
it.
was confusing that the hands were in the
that's a good deal if you call it
Yeah,
during really
I gave you a pretty good deal.
All right, I call it. So next card, yeah.
No.
You just
Oh, now it's my
conceding the
action.
pot.
No.
What
I
happened?
just
You
folded up.
Yeah, because he's already seen your hand.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We're only charging you 5K. I think that's generous. I don't know, whatever. I don't care.
That's a good deal.
It's all good.
Good deal for you.
Interesting.
Cliff notes here, what went down. So on an ace 8 deuce flop, Phil Hellmuth bet $5,000 with ace 9 and slime jam for $35,000. At this point, Phil begins to tank and think over his decision. Then Tom Dwan, as can be seen here at the bottom of the screen, basically wants to see Phil's cards. Phil pushes them forward in a very folding-like motion so that Tom can look at them. Slime interprets that as a fold and then thinks he's won the hand, tables his ace 6. Now Hellmuth knows that he's ahead and he can make the call. Once this has gone down, Hellmuth decides they should have a deal where they should basically make it because of the misunderstanding where he basically pays some kind of penalty but doesn't have to get stacked, and decides that his opponent should throw $5,000 into the pot and totally forfeit their hand. Lots to talk about here, but I think the first thing is that a floor should have been called to the table to take care of this. You have two people that have very different incentives. The floor should make a ruling as to what should stand, and then the players can decide afterwards what they think is fair amongst themselves. But I do think that when you have an instance like this, because it is a little bit confusing, you should get some kind of manager involved. As for the fold, quote unquote, fold, not fold, whatever you want to call it, I do think that because Hellmuth's facial expression does not change whatsoever when he passes Tom the cards, that I don't think he thinks that he's folding. He's just passing his cards to Tom so that Tom can take a look at them. What I will say here is the manner in which he does it is typically what you do to fold. And in fact, when I turn a hand over, if I want to show some of my hand or I'm debating a call, I do so carefully so that no one will interpret my action as a fold. I think this is something that players that have been around for a long time would recognize, that you don't want to basically angle someone into making the wrong decision. The way that he does it, it's quick and does look very fold-like. I don't think that he was folding. I don't think personally that he was trying to angle anyone, but I could see why Slime, especially when you're a recreational player, might have interpreted that as Phil Hellmuth letting go of his hand. As for if it's a fold or not, I guess it depends on what the rules are at the location. I'm not familiar with Hustler's specific rules, but forward motion and your cards past the betting line could be ruled a fold in some places. It really depends on what their rule for folding specifically is. In terms of intent, if we had had a wider angle shot of what had happened, I bet you could more clearly see he was passing his cards to Tom. But again, fast forward movement, probably past the betting line at the table, definitely could rule this as a fold from a floor perspective. It's going to come down to the location. I don't think Hellmuth's angle here was to fold or to get a reaction, though. I really just don't think that it was. I think he was passing his cards over to Tom Dwan. My problem is once this goes down, I think that the way that Phil handles this is not correct. This is not the way you should be treating people that are new to the game and don't understand exactly what's happening. What I think would make the most sense in this instance, and if I was in Phil's shoes, what I would say is, hey, I wasn't folding. I was showing my friend my hand because I wanted him to see the spot that I was in. But I realized that the confusion made you turn your hand over. I have a better hand than you, so let's just put the rest of the money to the side besides what's in the pot, and let's run the board out because I don't want you to think that I was taking advantage of you and basically trying to stack you or make you make a mistake. And instead, this way, I am ahead. I'm not going to fold, but I'm not going to take additional money. What Phil does is he decides that there should be some kind of penalty, 5 or 10K penalty. But the way that he words it is he says 5K or 10K. It's a little bit ambiguous as to exactly what that means. He tries to say that what it means is that his hand is dead, as in the guy can't win the pot. But that's actually a bigger penalty than 5 or 10K because there is money in the middle. He's actually also forfeiting thousands of dollars in equity in the fact that he could chop or just outright win if he hits a 6. And so by doing it this way, it's not just costing him 5K, it's costing him 5K plus what's in the middle. I feel somewhat strongly about this. Guys, this is the type of game that we're in. Pre-flop in this hand, a player asked when the blinds go up. It's a cash game. Regardless of the rules of the hustler, Hellmuth should do the thing that's most fair to his opponent. And by all means, if Phil really thinks he should be calling, letting his opponent out for 5K is much better than, of course, forcing them to run it. But to try and get a little bit of extra money here and forfeit your opponent's hand, it just really doesn't sit right when what he did was questionable. Again, I don't think that he was angling, and in some places, if intent is what matters, then he would still keep his hand. And his opponent should, really be protecting their hand and making sure their opponent's action is clear. But we're not in normal poker room territory here. We're in crazy high stakes gambly game with people that might not play again or very rarely ever play poker. And so I think that you need some context here. Slime clearly thought his opponent folded and was happy, pound the table in excitement, and then ends up having to pay a 5K penalty and totally forfeit the pot. Where I'm driving this is back to the most important point, which is this is a classic situation where Phil Hellmuth doesn't realize what's happening in the world outside of just to Phil Hellmuth specifically. What he did here caused a mistake from a player that never plays poker. And then rather than give him the benefit of the doubt and try and offer a solution where he doesn't lose more money in this game that is already a huge game and he probably doesn't play very often, he makes him pay $5,000 and buy out of the pot in its entirety. I just don't feel good about that. I don't feel good about treating people that are new to our game like that. And I see a lot of people when we talk about Hellmuth and we go back and forth, they misconstrue the arguments. I know we've had a lot of cheating stuff lately, and this kind of falls under that umbrella-ish because it's debatable if it's an angle shoot or not. But Phil Hellmuth is not a cheater. He did not cheat here. I don't think that he meant for this to happen. But what he did do is when it did happen, rather than trying to make sure that his opponent feels good about the result of things and doesn't feel angled or cheated, he thinks about trying to make an extra 5K and forfeit his opponent's hand. That's my real problem, not Phil Hellmuth going over the line in terms of what's legal or not legal, or what are the rules of the poker room, but rather the way that Phil Hellmuth treats people and the repercussions that it has on not only the table, but the poker community at large. Although you could argue, he might have been on better behavior today than normal.
I think I'm gonna burn this fucking place down if I don't win this fucking tournament. Fucking burn this fucking place down. Damn motherfucker.
Thanks for joining me today. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you join the channel. A lot of great content on here. I'll see you guys again soon.